Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Lori Hale. So, while sitting with the Lord the other evening, I heard him say, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay," quoted in Deuteronomy 32:35, and also from a few New Testament scriptures. We, as God's children, are told that the Lord will bring vindication and that we're not to seek vengeance ourselves. The Lord applied this directive to the context of abortion and the idea of criminalizing women who've had abortions. He showed me that the hearts of some anti-abortion advocates hold onto an attitude of retribution, similar to that of the Pharisees who sought to stone the woman caught in adultery. Those Pharisees were standing on the letter of the law, which leads to death. However, in Christ, as his disciples, we are now ministers of the new covenant, which brings life. We see that new covenant on display through Jesus' interaction with the adulterous woman, as he didn't condemn her, though he did instruct her to go and sin no more. Our heart posture should always be Christ-like, regardless of the situation. Now, just to be clear, we at My Choices Life want to see abortion abolished throughout America. When it becomes illegal to take the life of the preborn and the law is broken, there should be consequences as when any other laws are violated. Motivation of the heart is the Lord's focus in this word I'm about to share, as there is an underlying driving force in some who, because of a vengeful heart, are more focused on punishment and not mercy for women involved in abortion. And this is what I heard the Lord say. "Vengeance is mine, I will repay. It is not up to my children to seek retribution for any form of injustice afflicted upon either themselves or anyone else. For that type of legalistic inclination is derived from a Pharisaical spirit, and thus does not embody the forgiving nature of Christ. Therefore, those who are pushing for punitive action against women that have committed abortion are actually partnering with the wrong spirit. For surely it was not I who issued that directive. So though in my sight the murdering of the preborn is abhorrent, for indeed is it a detestable practice, I never once instructed any of my own to avenge those innocent lives by criminalizing their mothers, which is what some have sought to do, and have thus set themselves up as judge, jury, and executioner. For indeed in their hearts do they desire to cast the first stone. And while to see abortion abolished in this nation is my intention, the strategy I have chosen to bring about its end can only be known, however, via the spiritual battlefront. For indeed must Moloch's influence be broken over this nation, as this is the only sure path to achieving the full victory. Therefore it is upon the supernatural plane that this battle must first be fought, so that he no longer holds any sway over the hearts and minds of the American people. For then, and only then, shall abortion no longer be widely accepted across this land. Thus should it be remembered that the actual conflict over abortion lies in the unseen, that otherworldly realm where the enemy and his dark forces dwell. Therefore it is with the powers of darkness that my children should take issue, and not with those upon whom they prey, as those made of flesh and bone are not the real adversaries in the war over human life. Yet for the lines to fully shift on that battlefront, the collective mindset of Americans towards abortion must change, where that vile practice is regarded as repugnant to the overwhelming majority, and thus shall it no longer be considered as an acceptable option. Albeit in their own strength are some crusaders in this fight over life attempting to take ground, and thus have leveled their sights upon the wrong target. For their view has been obstructed by a religious dogma that is heavily biased against women. Then it is with an air of superiority that these crusaders march out onto the field of battle, and with an attitude of self-righteous indignation have they taken their stance. For just as it was with the Pharisees, are they as well blinded to their own sin, and as such do they count the iniquities of others to be more egregious than their own. It would then appear that these evangelists of right and wrong have forgotten the pit from which they were saved. Even still do they persist, though I have not called them to lead the charge in the fight for life. For in that arena, it is actually the warfare of my daughters that is needed at this time in order to reclaim that territory which the enemy has stolen. Thus in this hour am I calling forth the Esthers, those who will stand up and fight for the future of America. See then, it is the spiritual terrain of this nation that must be cleared first before any major shift can occur along the temporal battlefront over abortion. And so must my daughters rise up and contend against that dark king Moloch, whose forces are still heavily entrenched throughout this land. Thus is it my daughters who are to spearhead the campaign I am preparing to launch, as it is into their hands that I shall release the divine insight and strategies needed to bring defeat upon Moloch and his bloodthirsty horde. And so, in this arena, it is the warfare of my daughters that shall be more effective. Thus are they to assemble and ready themselves for an intense battle, as that dark king shall not easily relinquish his authority. Therefore let it be understood amongst my own that on the battlefront of abortion, it is my daughters who are to lead. Thanks again for joining me today.